to the Bripublish podcast series for the youth. I am Vinita from Team Bripublish, and today we have a young author, Bhargavvi, who has written a second book called The Unfolding Layers of Feelings. So, Bhargavi, a very warm welcome to you. And can you tell us that what motivated you to write this particular book? The title itself is very catchy.
Well, very good morning to everyone. So I am Bhargavvi Bajpai. I am pursuing masters from Amity, Mumbai. And so basically, see, now you asked the question like, okay, what inspired me? So I think life struggles. Okay, so as a child, I've been through a lot, and I think what inspires me to write about hope, about the sadness, about the struggles we face, about the self doubt you have, and whatever I face as a teenager or even as a young adult right now. So I think it inspired me to write because I believe art just do a justice to it. Okay, now if you write poems, if you make paintings, if you write stories, okay, they won't judge you. There are no boundaries in that. Okay, there are no rules and regulations. Ki, okay, you have to write this much only, or there are bounds. The rules. Okay, you can't go beyond that. It's like free. You can write anything, like not anything, but yeah, okay, you can express yourself freely. And I think poetry inspires me the same because it allows me to express myself freely. So yes, so this inspired me to write. Yeah, my book, Unfolding Layers of Feelings, because feelings, okay, now feelings are different layers. Okay, now happiness, sadness, hopelessness, despair, struggle, and everything. So it unfolds in a way the poetry unfolds that. What are you going through?
So
Yeah.
said while you were, explaining about the book that there are times when there is so much of self doubt. So tell me, as a as an author, I'm sure when you started your journey of writing, there must be a point where uh, most of the authors feel that is my writing, something that somebody would or people would appreciate, or am I good enough, in terms of a writer? So how, as an author, when you're publishing a book, how do you overcome these kind of feelings, the doubt, the kind of uh, vacuum an author feels? So what is the journey there for an author?
So I guess if I'm getting you right, you're talking about like journey or self doubt, right? How you're dealing with those feelings. Actually it's very difficult, because what happens whenever you write. So okay, you are okay. I have written nicely, but what happens is that especially young authors like me now. Okay, now I don't have a name. For example, okay, I'm just a student. Now what happens is that when people don't react to it. Okay, now what happens whenever I put it on social media or anywhere, and whenever people don't respond to it, okay, they don't do unintentionally most of the times, but sometimes, okay, whenever they ignore it, you feel, okay, am I wrong? Am I doing something wrong, or am I not good poet? Because what happens when people don't respond, you are like, नहीं कुछ तो है गलत हो रहा है, I am wrong, I am doing something, I am not resonating with the audience. And in the era of social media, okay, now people, now you I'm not comparing, but what happens that when you see other people getting things done, okay, clickbait and whatever and stuff, and that time they get worried and you don't get, then you feel like nahi kuch galat hai. But I think we have to believe ourselves. I mean, I know it's hard to, not like, okay, it's hard in times, okay, not everyone is supporting you, but I think you have to keep going, because somewhere down the line, whenever you go on and on, you work continuously hard. Okay, so somewhere it will click. You have to be work hard a lot. I mean, you have to continuously work towards it, unless, because if you give up, then it's no use. It's no use. So I think you have to continuously work behind that, and no, somewhere down the line, people would appreciate your work, because you're rising from a scratch. Okay, it's not like you're not a established We are not established people, right? Okay, we are just students. So I think we have to work continuously. We have to work hard, not give up on selves. And I think somewhere we will, no, okay, people would recognize our hard work. And if it doesn't, even a handful people do, then also I think we should be satisfied. Okay, we are impacting someone's life. Yes.
Yeah, you're so true because in this digital age where responses are very quick in terms of if you post something, there is a huge pool of responses, and sometimes some of them are meaningless also because it's more of being visible on the social platforms. So since as an author, it's a very different segment of art.
Yeah.
You have these author communities, and even in this, when there are writers who write novels, there are story writers, there are fiction. So it has many segments to it, and being a fit is, I'm sure, a big struggle for a young person like. So tell me how are the things? What kind of changes have you felt in the writers' communities? Now being a new author, what kind of things do you feel can be done to encourage more and more people to publish their work or create that kind of awareness where new content is given a lot of light. So what is your take on that?
See, so yes, that's a actually interesting questions because I, as a young author, and many who would be watching this as young budding authors, students would relate to this because it's in this social media and the world of reels and everything. It's really hard to find a place. I mean, sometimes established content creators also find it hard. I guess if you have seen the current trend which is going on social media, okay, if you see the Jibble or Ghibli, whatever we say, now we can see like how there is, okay, the real those who make doodle arts are really actually feeling a bit disappointed. So I think if I guess those who establish publish books, now what they can do is that they can encourage students like us or encourage young people, young kids to publish their anthologies. I mean, if anthologies, I guess many of them are doing it. Most of them are doing it, but I think young kids should be given this opportunity via social media so that they can actually publish their poems and can be co-authors. Now, what happens now? And I guess fees should be little nominal because not every kid can afford. Because I've seen some of the anthology fees and they're too much. So I think it should be less, but they should give the kids opportunities so that okay, kids or young students like me or other people, other age group people who are writing poems, short stories. So what happens? They get a base. Okay, they'll continuously take part, their confidence will build, and on the basis of that, they can see that if I beg your pardon, for example, a concerned student, okay, now he's good. Okay, he writes poetry well, he writes short stories well, so he can be offered. Okay, they can be offered key, okay, you can write a book. Now, for example, Bripublish gives good opportunities to students like us or teachers or anyone. Okay, you can write your book. Okay, we'll provide you the format. I think that's what I love the most. Okay, there was a proper format. So you can write the poem and you can no, okay, if there is no the limit is over, then turn to the next page. I think what happens is that they will get an opportunity. Secondly, they will understand what a format of book is. I mean, they can do the brave publish initiative types, and also they should indulge in more and more anthologies, the pet, because I think that's what we need. Because see, because students like us find it hard. Okay, not every time we get to voice ourselves out, and so they should promote literary works, and apart from that, even the government should take some initiatives and poetry
That's
competitions, short stories competitions. Yes.
And also, I was interested to know how much of the content in terms of its meaning has impacted or has changed or transformed, say from the books that we have read and grown up, the kind of literary work we have experienced. So, what do you feel? How much of it has changed? What is it a reader nowadays looking for? What kind of content the reader of today today's era is expecting or desiring to do.
So your question is about like what today's reader prefer to read. Okay, if
Absolutely.
I'm getting it. I think it's a very vast audience because see, because mainly since I am pursuing journalism, so okay, so I will give from a journalist perspective. What I see is that people tend to prefer some people like okay, there are some categories who follow political, some follow historical, and some I think some of them follow poetry. And that too poetry, I think since I think it's more of than Hindi. Not that there are not people don't who follow English poetry, but I think it's like it's a very divided audience. I mean, because I've seen that Twitter trends and Instagram, not on Instagram, but I've seen Twitter trends like, okay, for example, if like our honorable external affairs minister, he has published two books. I mean, it's like people prefer politics much. What I follow, it depends upon my following the people I follow or the algorithm which Twitter shows to me, I think people prefer more politics. And I think
Because it
that's
does
okay. But I
affecting
think there are
their
handful
lives.
of people who follow poetry.
Poetry also in terms of its aesthetics and how
Yeah.
traditionally it is written. Bhargavi, what do you feel that how much of these readers or the writers communities have evolved nowadays? So, I mean, earlier, if I talk about 10 years back or something, there was a lot of, push towards, or there was so much of exposure for people who were doing poetry. They were proper platforms or national level programs where they used to participate in. Even a normal, layman would get to experience their poetry, or their work. What do you feel? What has changed now or transformed, or what is more needed in this field so that the exposure of new content is can be experienced easily?
I think, like if I compare, see, if you talk about 10 to 20 years ago, like, okay, I was in school that time, and I mean, if we see at that time in school, okay, we were encouraged to recite stories,
Yeah.
take part in elocution competitions, and okay, so there were competitions, okay, we had, but if we compare to the recent times, I think unfortunately it has reduced a bit because I don't find such more competitions in colleges and all.
Yeah.
Like okay, wherever I study, and but basically, what that was a challenge which I was facing. Now, recently, my university started a magazine. So, okay, now they are encouraging stories and poetry. That's actually a good thing. But I think students, schools, especially schools, should inculcate that because it begins at the school at a childhood only. It's
So
like
probably
okay, whatever the habits.
they can have a poetry month or a
Yes,
week where
and
each.
I think what happens is that I mean the mentality is so not the mentality, but what the thinking is that okay, you're supposed art like writing poetry stories is not considered that level of importance. Okay, it's like okay, no, you have to do this. Okay, you have to be this. No, poetry writing story, no. Like, I think that's my view. Okay, no, you are not supposed to do this because see, this has more opportunity. This particular field has more opportunity. I think people's perception, plays a big role. So I think, see, okay, I understand that being an author is a very risky because it's like okay, success and because getting success is very hard in this field. But I think it should be more of a hobby. Okay, you should inculcate students in that those who are really good at writing, who are really good at, being good poets and stories, I think they should be encouraged right from the beginning. Okay, okay, even if they are not doing it, okay, even if they are not doing that occupation, but if it's a hobby. Now, if you see, for example, I'm an engineer and I have a part time. Okay, I like poem and stories. Now you can, if you are a very good poet and stories, I think if you work hard on the social media or everything, then you can have good presence, right? And you can inspire others to do the same. So I think it should start right from the beginning. Schools should, like okay, from third or fourth standard, they should have competitions of poetry, of stories, and colleges should do more and more, especially communication in journalism. Colleges should to do more and more such things, and so that students get more opportunity. Because I am seeing, okay, there is a reduction. What I
Yeah.
feel, okay, there is more of very less opportunities for students like us. Even if we want to do it, okay, we have to struggle a lot,
I
and
guess
social media makes it
that's
very hard for us.
Yeah, I guess I was coming to that point only that in the digital age, the expression is more of how visible you are than
Yeah.
how transformative you are. So if you have good
Ah.
followers and amount, there's a huge amount of followers, you are taken to be somebody who's very pro in it. But I think it should be the other way. How much transformation you're writing
Hmm.
or your work is making people change in their life should be the criteria. I guess you have discussed a very valid point where we should have this coming from the school level itself, where children are encouraged to express themselves more. I guess that's a very, very good point that you have emphasized upon. So, Bhargavi, can you share that, was there any kind of issues? Were there any kind of issues that you faced while publishing your work, or was it an easy journey with Republish, then doing a book on your own? Because if I'm sure Republish gives the 100% of with I think freedom to the writer to
Hmm.
even add their own imagery and make the book in the way they want to, formatting in terms of the look and the feel of the book. So was it easy or was it a complicated affair?
I will say it was very easy. I mean, it was a smooth journey because, okay, so when we got to know about this, so we took part, and when I registered myself, okay, it provided me a variety, either fiction, non-fiction, or teaching related literary poems, and so on. So since I was in poetry, so they gave me so I was provided a format, and I was told, okay, so you have to write beyond 84 pages, but I guess that's good. And secondly, what I liked about Be Published was that, okay, they provided a particular format. Okay, if in this page when you're done, you have to, so it provides a like sort of a format. Okay, this much you should write in a particular page. This much
You
characters
already
should there
know,
should
I
be.
guess you already know that the book, how the book would come out,
Ha,
I mean, from
and it
beginning,
helps
you know
you.
the look and the shape
Ha.
and the feel of the book is
Yes,
available to
and
you.
whenever you are done, okay, so when I finished writing, so what I loved was like, okay, they provided us a set of like cover pages. Okay, it's on you.
To
You can
choose.
choose this, you can choose that, you can choose your font you wish, you can wish whatever subheading you want to write. I mean, that's actually wonderful, because what happens when you publish it on your own? There are various roadblocks, okay, you are done with your this, okay, they will edit manuscript, the images won't be good, okay, second thing would be that cover page. So I mean, that's problematic. And when the book came in my hand, okay, so when I bought my own self copy, so what I loved was the quality of the page, because it was so I mean, it was looking like a okay complete book. Not every publishing house would provide that. But Republish was really good. I mean, I would recommend anyone who is, first time author, or a young kid or young student who wants to write it. I would tell them ki you should be writing via Republish only, because it helps you a lot.
So much for your, encouragement and the conversation, such a meaningful, conversation we had on this topic. So I wish you all the best for your book, Bhargavi, and
Thank you so much.
hope to meet you again with your another book and some more meaningful, conversation. And I'm going to
Thank you.
wrap up with this today's session. Thank you so much for being with
Thank you.
us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.